हेलो इग्नू पॉइंट, कैसे हैं आप सब। आई होप आप सब अच्छे होंगे। तो वी आर बैक विद अनदर एक्सप्लेनेशन वीडियो which course code is MCO-024, business ethics and corporate social responsibilities. So there are 5 questions. So let's get started. Discuss the two dominant views of business, namely Milton Friedman's shareholder value. The Friedman doctrine is also referred to as the shareholder theory. American economist Milton Friedman developed the doctrine as a theory of business ethics that states that an entity's great responsibility lies in the satisfaction of the shareholders. Friedman believes that the shareholders form the backbone of the entity and they should be treated with the utmost respect. Profits maximization requires the entry to find ways of generating additional revenues through value addition and creating more products and service while minimizing cost. Friedman also stated that the shareholders should be in charge of key decisions such as social initiative rather than getting an outsider to make the decision on their behalf. Despite its success, the doctrine faces its own fair share of criticism from the surrounding society. The doctrine is seen to a large extent as individualistic, especially from the social perspective. Critics consider the doctrine as defective form from many fronts, including legally, morally, economically, socially, and financially. Most critics hold that the doctrine gives shareholders on an upper hand while neglecting the society surrounding the entity, in as much as the shareholder are the financial engine for the business. The entity also needs the community for it to be successful. The business sells its products and service to the community. Its success depends on the goodwill from the community to purchase the products and service. Therefore, both parties have a mutual relationship and the business has a responsibility towards the community. Edward Freeman stakeholder approach. So next question is Edward Freeman's stakeholder approach. The stakeholder theory also states that it is not permissible to view the stake of the aforementioned individuals and institutions in isolation. In other words, their interests should be considered together. In addition, moving the interests of financial employee communities, suppliers, and customers along the same path in the main duty of entrepreneur or managers. Suppliers and customers along the same path is the main duty of entrepreneurs and managers. Freeman reiterates that the above groups are key determinants in the success of business organization. He gave an example of a business unit that has lost market share owing to a declining number of customers. The customer may have rejected to buy the product of a particular business enterprise, leading to its drastic fall. Another case might be a business that has loose contact or poor coordination with suppliers. Another case, Freeman is of the opinion that suppliers who merely deliver goods without added value might be a major liability to a business enterprise. He claims that creativity and innovation should be among the key strengths of suppliers, apart from just delivering order. Hence, suppliers who fail to add value to them service can jeopardize the growth of a business unit. Employers as stakeholders are also instrumental in the growth of a business organization. They should utilize them best skills and efforts to deliver value at their respective workplace. Commitment and dedication are the key features of successful employees. Freeman feels that employee can put them creativity and energy in making sure that business do not decline or shrink in performance. Next question, what are the different perspective of business ethics different between the following: personal and business ethics, morals and non-moral standards. Personal and business ethics. Personal ethics and business ethics might also depart from one another depending on the circumstances. Here are some possible difference between personal and business ethics. Role specificity. Sometimes business ethics can vary depending on our role and industry and An investment advisor and a preschool teacher might prioritize their value differently. For intense structure, business ethics are often highly structured and even formalized as a mission or value statement. Personal ethics can sometimes be more flexible or informal, collective versus individualized. The degree to which group of people share personal and business ethic can sometimes vary. Personal ethic might be shared with a family or a or social group. Depending on how those groups develop shared values, business ethics are often integrated into the structure of an organization and formally required of all team members. Situation nature: since the type of value a person might prioritize often overlap between personal and business ethics, the difference sometimes has to do with how they are applied and in what situation. Moral and non-moral standards. Moral standards pertain to the rules people have about the kind of action they believe are morally right and wrong, as well as the value they place on the kind of objects they believe are morally good and morally bad. Non-moral standards, on the other hand, are the rules that are unrelated to moral or ethical consideration. Either these standards are not necessarily linked to morality or by nature lack ethical sense. Moral standards are also referred to as moral values and moral principles. On the other hand, usual example of non-moral standards include rules of etiquette, fashion standard, rules in games, and various house rules. Moral standards involve the rules people have about the kind of actions they believe are morally right and wrong, as well as the value they place on the kind of objects they believe are morally good and morally bad. Some etiquettes equate moral standards with moral values and moral principles. Non-moral standard refers to the rules that are unrelated to moral or ethical consideration. Either these standards are not necessarily linked to morality or by nature lack ethical sense. Basic example of non-moral standards include non-moral standard include rules of etiquette, fashion standard, rules in game, and various house rules. Technically, religious rules, some traditions, and legal statutes are non-moral principles, though they can be ethically relevant depending on some factor and context. The following 6 characteristics of moral standard further differentiate them from non-moral standard. A moral standard involves serious wrong or significant benefits. Moral standards deal with matters which can seriously impact, that is, injure or benefit human beings. It is not that case with many non-moral standards. For instance, following or violating some basketball rules may matter in basketball games but does not necessarily affect one's life or well-being. Moral standard to be preferred to other values. Moral standard have overriding character or hegemonic authority. If a moral standard states that a person has the moral obligation to do something, then she is supposed to do that, even it conflicts with other non-moral standards and even with self-interest. Moral standards are not the only rules or principles in society, but they take precedence over other considerations, including aesthetic, prudential, and even legal ones. Next question: discuss the applicability of CRS provisions and the activity listed out under Schedule 7. Applicability to the CSR: every company having net worth 500 crore or more, turnover of rupees 100 crore or more, or net profit of 5 crore more during the immediately preceding financial year, and shall constitute corporate social responsibility commitment meeting. Every company, including its holding or subsidiary, and a foreign company defined under Clause 42 of Section 2 of the Act, having its branch office or project office in India, which fulfills the criteria, shall also comply with the provision of Section 135 of the Act. However, if any company cases to meet the criteria for 3 consecutive financial years, then it is not required to comply with CSR provision till such time it meets specific criteria. Activities in eradicating hunger, poverty, and malnutrition, promoting health care, including preventions, healthcare and sanitation, including contribution to the Swachh Bharat Kosh set up by the central government for the promotion of sanitation and making available safe drinking water, promoting education including special education and employment, enhancing vocation skills especially among children, women, elderly and the differently able, the livelihood enhancement project, promoting gender equality, empowering women, setting up homes and hostels for women and orphans, setting up old age homes, daycare centers, and such other facilities for senior citizens, and measure of the reducing inequalities faced by socially and economically backward groups, ensuring environmental sustainability, ecological balance, protection of flora and fauna, animals' welfare, agroforestry, and conversion of natural resources, and maintaining quality of soil and air and water, including contributing to the Clean Ganga funds set up by the central government for rejuvenation of River Ganga. Protection of natural heritage, art and culture, including restoration of buildings and sites of historical importance and work of art, setting up public libraries, promotion and development of traditional art and handicrafts. Measure of the benefits of armed force veterans, war widows and their dependents, central armed police force and central paramilitary forces, veterans and their departments including widows. Contribution to the Prime Minister National Relief Fund or any other fund setups by the central government for socio-economic development and relief and welfare of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, other backward classes, minorities, and women. Contribution to incubators or research and development projects in the field of science, technology, engineering, medicine, funded by the central government or state government or public section undertaking or any agency to the central government or state government. And rural development projects, slum area development. Explanation for the purpose of this item, and the term slum area shall mean any area declared as such by the central government or any state government or any other competent authority under any law for the time being enforced. Disaster management, including relief, rehabilitation and reconstruction activities. What is the process of CSR reporting? Discuss the different reporting tools and techniques. CSR reporting is the process of evaluating a company's opportunities and risks and finally creating the ultimately report that stakeholders can use to understand and make their decision about your company's impact. The most important thing about CSR reporting is ensuring that the data contained incorrect, verifiable, and comparable. Focus on outcomes and not outputs. Many companies limit their reporting to the action they took as the input they contributed, like the number of hours, money donated. However, a good CSR report should include what outcomes was achieved as a result of this input and action. This might require you to have a clear impact strategy or theory of change to visualize your impact journey and then show how the result along with those components. A major limitation of many sustainability and CSR reporting output levels data. While some companies still do that, thought leaders are moving towards more rigorous and in-depth reporting, setting themselves apart from the competition. Reporters, what matters, goals in sight, always table of contents, tool and techniques of CSR reports. Write short notes on the following. Utilitarianism is a theory of morality that advocate action that foster happiness or pleasure and oppose action that cause unhappiness or harm when directed towards making social, economic or political decision. Utilitarian philosophy would aim for the betterment of society as a whole. Utilitarianism would say that an action is right if it results in the happiness of the greatest number of people in a society or a group. Utilitarianism is a theory of morality which advocates action that foster happiness and oppose action that cause unhappiness. Utilitarianism promotes the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people. When used in socio-political contrast Utilitarian ethics aims for the betterment of society as a whole. Next question, responsibility and workplace challenges. Problem with communication and relationship. Just as in any other aspect of life, strong working relationship really matter. Not only do they help overcome stress and improve mental health in the workplace, they also contribute to a professional workplace environment and underpin positive employee behavior. In other words, healthy working relationship and strong communication skill result in improved focus and productivity. Executive uncertainty in a changing world. If the last couple of years have taught us anything, it's how unpredictable the world of business can be. From global to hyper-local, challenges related to change are all around us. The professional workplace you need today might look very different to the one you valued so much yesterday. From business leader to supervisor to employee, this level of uncertainty can cause a range of employee problems if you don't plan for it. Third, concern about technology and innovation. Keeping up with technological advancement can cause work issues at any level of an organization. Executive fears about competitive advantage can sometimes result in additional employee pressure. This often leads to office conflict and is ultimately detrimental to productivity. A workforce that is unable to keep up with technological changes is never going to be effective as one that is supported through regular training program. Fourth, workplace environment issues. Both the physical and the emotional environment of a workplace are important to job satisfaction and employee motivation. Feeling physically uncomfortable or mentally unsupported can be a huge obstacle at work to any member of a workforce. It's particularly important to remember this if your business includes employees who work in a virtual environment, for example at home. Fifth, challenges related to employee motivation. Emerges and motivated workforce has to be any employer goals. Let's face it, we all work harder when we feel switched on by what we are doing and by the people around us. A 2020 HR survey by Gartner found that nearly a quarter of all Australian employees are actively looking for new career opportunities. This suggested a level of job dissatisfaction that may well be detrimental to business right across Australia. Worries about job security and career growth, training methods that don't meet workforce needs. Next question is training method that don't meet workforce needs. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. The Abhiyan was launched by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 2nd of October 2014 at Rajghat, New Delhi, with an aim to make India clean. Aim was to provide sanitation facilities to every family, including toilets, solid and liquids, water disposal system, villages, cleanliness and safe and adequate drinking water supply by 2nd October 2019. It will be befitting tribute to the father of the nation on his 150th birth anniversary. It is significant that the PM himself is taking very proactive role in making the campaign a success. At Rajghat, he started the campaign by cleaning the street by himself. However, it has been clearly declared that the campaign is not only the duty of the government but each and every citizen of the country is equally responsible to keep the nation clean or swachh. The campaign of Swachh Bharat launched by the Government of India is aimed to accomplish various goals and fulfill the vision and mission of Clean India by 2nd of October 2019, which is 150th birth anniversary of great Mahatma Gandhi. It has been expected that the investment to cost would be over 62,000 crore of Indian rupees. Means US dollar of 9.7 billion. It has been declared by the government that this campaign is taken as beyond politics and inspired by patriotism. Following are some important objectives of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan to eradicate the system of open defecation in India, to convert the insanitary toilets into poor flush toilet, to remove the system of manual scavenging to make people aware of healthy sanitation practices by beginning behavioral changes in people, to link people with the program of sanitation and public health in order to generate public awareness, to build up the urban local bodies strong in order to design, execute, and operate all systems related to cleanliness, to completely start the scientific processing, disposal, reuse, and recycling the municipal solid waste, to provide required environment for the private sector to get participated in the capital expenditure of all operation and many maintenance costs related to the clean campaign, corporate India and Swachh Bharat campaign. Heading to all the call of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, corporate India is also enthusiastically taking steps towards making the Abhiyan a success. Public and private campaigns are pending in cleanliness activities under their compulsory corporate social responsibility scheme, which is a statutory requirement as per Companies Act 2013. CSR is a mechanism through which companies invest in activities beneficial to society as a whole. Corporate house supporting Swachh Bharat campaign. Major corporate house such as LNI, L&T, DLF, Vedanta, Bharti, TCS, Ambuja Cements, Toyota, Kirloskar, Maruti, Tata Motors, Coca-Cola, Dubai, Aditya Birla, Adani, Infosys, TVS, and many others have a marked budget for Swachh Bharat project. According to one estimate, 1,000 crore worth of various cleanliness projects are in the pipeline by corporate sector, and out of which 500 crore have been already invested on the campaign in past few years. These projects including building toilets in distant villages, running workshops on behavioral change, waste management, and water hygiene and sanitation activities, among other things. In a bid to invite corporate funds for Swachh Bharat campaign, the government had recently decided that corporate contribution towards the scheme will now be counted as CSR spend. And to make it clearer later, the Corporate Affairs Ministry also amended Schedule 7th of Companies Act to specify that contribution to Swachh Bharat Kosh would be an eligible CSR spend. Therefore, not only government and private individual, but also the corporate sector is playing its role in making India totally clean. Annual reporting on CSR. It is the report of the high-level committee on corporate social responsibilities dated August 7, 2019. The committee had given many recommendations. In its recommendation, the committee recommended the following: reporting for CSR needs to be strengthened with enhanced disclosure for better information disseminations with respect to selection of project location in implementing agencies to facilities better mentoring. In view of recommendation of the community, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs introduced Companies Amendment Rules 2021. The said rules came into effect on January 22, 2021. Rule 8 of the said rules make it mandatory for companies to annex to the board report and annual report on CSR containing disclosures specified in Annexure 1. Composition of CSR committee. As per Rule 5 of the amended rules, companies eligible for CSR expenditure shall form a CSR committee with at least 2 directors, one of whom shall be an independent director appointed in the company under Section 149 of the Act. However, as per Section 1359, where the CSR obligation of the company is less than 50 lakhs, then the contribution of the CSR company is not mandatory, and the function of the CSR committee should be discharged by the board of such company, HLC, and in its report has suggested the conclusion of a CSR experts in the CSR committee constituted by the companies. In this section, companies are required to maintain the composition of the CSR committee along with other details such as the name and designation of director, number of CSR committee meeting held during the year, and attendance of each director in committee meeting. In the case where a company has not constituted a CSR committee, disclosure of that effect may be made in the section of the report. तो यहाँ हमारा असाइनमेंट ख़त्म होता है. इफ़ you have any query, you can contact us on our WhatsApp number given in the description below. Thank you.